Yo, what's up, guys? How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, you're well. You can kind of feel it. You feel it in the air. Busy boxing weekend. Busy boxing weekend. Wherever you are in the world, I say welcome. As you guys are checking in, like the video, like the video, and also make sure you're subscribing to the channel. We have a lot to get into. We're gonna get into the thumbnail, obviously the updated odds. Errol Spence Jr., Tim Tszyu card. I know a lot of you guys in the States are saying that you're not getting the Zoo fight yet, so just be patient. It's Tuesday, July 21st, 12:45 p.m. I just uploaded my breakdown, analysis, and prediction of Zoo versus Spence. Check that out after this live stream. We had fights last night. Guys, on a Monday night in Sydney, we had almost 90 of you savages in our Discord watching the Japanese fight card. So that was fun. Another clean sweep. We are on a heat check. I want to go over briefly Japan real quick. Shout out to Tipkin. He's a JSB insider. Came through for us in the clutch by streaming the fights from Japan. So thanks, Tipkin. It's another massive benefit of becoming part of our community. We got all the fights in the Discord. So that was fun last night. And we're just continuing on. I'm going to join the Discord. I'm going to leave that link pinned there. So this was a point of contention. There were guys on YouTube, guys on Twitter who were telling people that Badillo was going to stop or was going to beat Owada. You didn't hear that from us. You know, we broke this down. Owada was the champion. Owada was the A side. Owada had defended the belt, and everything was, on Badillo's to have a career-defining performance, and he didn't. So we won that one. It was a decent card. A little bit stressful, but Owada stopped Badillo. Taraji beat Gonzalez via unanimous decision. Taraji got hit a lot. You could kind of see in Taraji now in his mid-30s, you could see all those wars he's been in. But hell of a champion. Hell of a champion. And then I don't want to say, this was our triple. So this literally just continues on our winning ways weeks ago. It wasn't just last week. Don't have a short memory. It was the week before too, and the week before that. But yeah, we hit a plus 147 money line. You're not always going to have underdogs. So it is, whenever we have a lot of cards on the table, like we do this week, we're going to find dogs. I know a lot of the questions going into Japan last night was like, a dog always wins. And I'm like, well, sometimes. Dogs don't always win. And we hit there. So if you guys followed the tips, if you're playing along, if you're in our chat and you hit, good work. It's literally a team effort. And we're going to get into this. I'm going to take everyone's questions now. Get that out the way. Get all that stuff out the way. We win and we move on. You know damn well if we'd have went 0 for 3 last night, all the questions. But you said Owada was going to win. Why did Badillo win? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Our group is so used to winning. It's like, all right, boys, we won. Let's move on. I do want to tell you guys, I mean this when I say this. Withdraw your money if you're up. Make it tangible. Create systems and structures around winning, not just losing. Sometimes it gets addicting. Sometimes the addiction is actually giving money away. It sounds crazy, but subconsciously, people who are addicted to gambling who never win, it's the impulse of that. So we're not that. That's not what we do. We win consistently. Have your own perimeters, whether it's $500, whether it's $1,000, whether it's $5,000, whether it's $100. Whatever your betting account gets up to, you should have standards to say, when I hit this limit, I'm withdrawing and then I'll rebuild. That's if you don't have a bankroll. If you have a bankroll, it's a bit different. If you're playing with a bankroll, you could take a little bit more risks. That's a whole nother conversation that we could have maybe at a later time. Youngin in the house. Guys, go to the Discord. Youngin just dropped his moonshot parlay. He gave you 2 of them. One is a boxing parlay, and then I think I saw a UFC one. So go check it out. Youngin dropped it in the Discord. Guys, if you're not following Julius Knows Boxing, he's a JSB insider. You'll know him from our chat, our community, the show. He launched his own YouTube channel. And so make sure you follow Julius's YouTube channel. Just launched it this week. We're going to do our best to help him grow as well. He says, does Spence have 12 rounds in him? Guys, I got to be honest with you, man. I know I'm going to take shit. This is an Errol Spence fight week. The casuals are already out in full force, which is fine. Whenever you have a guy like Errol who's been around for so long, who is a storied American amateur, who's a champion at 47 for so long, charismatic, looks the part, his style, super fan friendly, you're going to get diehards who will defend him until the death, which is beautiful. That's fine. We expect that. Just be aware that this is one of those fight weeks. Even in our Discord, in which we pride ourselves on the non-casual approach, it's going to get contentious. Spence versus Tszyu. It's just one of those fights. Every year, we might get 2 of these a year. The last one I can remember that was like this was Canelo Crawford last year. Sometimes Ryan Garcia's fights get like this. I don't think Garcia. We'll see who you. But this is one of those weeks where if your money is already on the table, if you already put your bets in, and you're either in our Discord or you're in social media comment section, you don't have to respond to people. Your bet is already in. You're not gonna. There's no way you're gonna tell an Errol Spence diehard that he's going to lose. That's not going to happen, and that should never be your goal. Your goal as a bettor should never be to prove people to try to change people's minds. It should be to sell your own narrative. Like, why did I put my money on? Oh, because of A, B, and C. And to answer your question, I don't think he has 12 rounds in him. I do not think he has 12. There's one thing with hitting the pads. There's one thing with drilling. There's another thing with getting in there with a guy who's trying to take your head off. A much fresher guy. Say what you will. Tim Tszyu's much fresher than Errol Spence. You got, like, the Murtazawa fight, the towel gets thrown in. Wasn't out. It's not like Timmy ever went out unconscious. The second Fedora fight on the stool. That was just he wasn't having his way. And say what you will. It's not like the damage from a car crash. That Bud Crawford beatdown, this is a hill off debate. The way Errol got beat down against Bud, that was hard to watch. If we're playing boxing maths on who took the most damage, look at Errol Spence's resume. With Tim, you have from October 2023, Octatalon got dropped like 5 times. Couldn't defend the hook. And then Seb the second time, right? So in that short amount of time, this is the damage argument. Okay. When you look at Spence's style, other than the Ugas fight, which ended late, he wasn't stopping people. You know what I'm saying? He brings up 126-pound Mikey Garcia. This was like years ago. Mikey Garcia's best days were at 126. Brings up a small 126er, can't stop him. Brings up an 140-pounder, DSG, doesn't stop him. You know what I'm saying? His last win was Ugas in 2022. He stopped him, but it's not like Errol is this guy at 147 even before the Bud fight was running through people. This is a weird thing. Sean Porter went the distance. You know what I'm saying? So, like, keep that in mind. This fight's at 160. Does he have 12 rounds? I'd be shocked if it goes 12 rounds. Thoughts on Tim teaming up with Fennec? Look, it's a valid question. I brought this up in my breakdown. This isn't supposed to be a joke. I'm not sounding, there's no prejudice in this next statement. But Tim, his last 2 fights were with storied Cuban coach Dr. Pedro Diaz, who doesn't speak English. Sometimes there's cultural divides, especially if you can't communicate. I'm not saying that was an issue. I didn't like that move off jump. When Tim announced he was going to Pedro Diaz, I didn't like that. I thought he should have went to Abel Sanchez. I thought he should have went to Robert Garcia. Based on Tim Tszyu's style, I did not like at this stage of the game. Tszyu's only 31. I think he went to Pedro when he was 29. So the idea of a 29-year-old guy who's going to all of a sudden, with his style, front foot, boxer puncher, all of a sudden he's going to go to a Cuban coach who prides himself on movement, footwork. Like boxing, you don't want to teach the old dog a new trick. You want to, alleviate some flaws that he has, but you want to strengthen those strengths. Tszyu style, Mexican Tszyu, that's what they used to call him. Take him to Robert Garcia. Tighten some stuff up. Get that RGBA sparring. Take him to Abel Sanchez. So I didn't like the move anyway. The move to Jeff Fenech, you know, Australian great up until Liam Paro. Up until Liam Paro a couple weeks ago, Jeff Fenech was the only Australian ever to become a 2 division world champion. So boxing wise, legendary. His coaching accolades aren't as good. What he does is take guys and he makes them fight like he did. And that's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? He wanted Brock Jarvis to fight just like Fenech fought. But Brock Jarvis, didn't have it was tough to fight like Jeff Fenech. Jeff Fenech's a Hall of Famer. So Tim Tszyu is on the cusp. I don't hate it. I think it's better than Pedro Diaz. It's interesting, Errol going to Ronnie Shields. Ronnie Shields is and Shields operates a little bit differently with how he does. He likes his fighters using the entire ring. Errol's a guy coming from Derek who's always on the front foot, would break your ego, break the body down. So both guys, there's questions with both guys. We're going to have a lot of answers. This is why it's so intriguing. This fight is so intriguing. It's so exciting. I think for the hopeless romantics as well. And I talked about this in my breakdown. What an amazing story it would be for Errol Spence to come here to Sydney and beat Tim Tszyu. After all the bullshit he's been through, after all the self-sabotage, like the loss, the self-doubt, the inactivity, all of this stuff. Could you imagine if he comes down here and stops Tim Tszyu in front of 22,000 Aussies and becomes the first fighter ever to beat a Tszyu on Australian soil? Because if Tim beats EJ, the Tszyu family will be 55-0 in Australia, Nikita and Costa included. So that's why this fight, that is what makes our sport amazing. We are hopeless romantics about this thing. And then on Tszyu's end, Tszyu has an opportunity. We could play semantics, but there's a big contingency that would say Errol Spence Jr. is a Hall of Famer already. That's, if you want to debate that, that's a different live stream. Some people will say, you got to win world titles in multiple divisions. He only was world champion at 47, whatever. I get all that. But for Tszyu to beat a guy like Spence, no matter what all the bullshit says about what led up to the fight, to have a guy like Spence on your resume. And if Tszyu stops Spence, the history books will always say, Tim Tszyu knocks out Errol Spence. He then instantly strengthens his argument, his case for legacy sort of things. And then each one has an opportunity for big fights. The thing is, what I had to ask myself, and I didn't have to think about this for a long time. And I think this is the biggest question that you have to ask yourself when you're betting on either Tim or Errol, if you're betting on either one, is when the fighter wins, what does he do next? And when I was asking myself that question about Errol, if Errol wins, what should he do next? In the instant, the thing I instantly thought was retire. The thing I thought he should I thought he should retire after Bud, maybe even after the Ugas fight, just based off of the knowing the sport, thinking about when I look at Errol, I instantly think of him, what he'll be like when he's 70. You know what I'm saying? So visible signs of degradation going into the Bud Crawford fight. Those who deny that are just diehard Errol fans and they're in denial. It's not hard to go on the internet and look at his interviews, look at his energy he speaks with, look at the pause in how he's from Texas. Okay, that's one thing. But there was physical signs of degradation going into that Bud fight. It was evident. So if Errol wins, what does he do? I'd still want him to retire. But if Tim wins, what does he do? Dude, Tim just opens the book for big, big fights. Just that alone is a massive lean in terms of predictors of like, all right, and I didn't even talk about that in my breakdown. But, fights at 160, it's interesting. I'm going to be there. I'm excited for it. You've been here for 30 minutes. Keen, J-Sai, what's up? Jeff Fenech teach him how to maul Spence. Well, this isn't what Fenech will. What I hope Fenech does, because when you look at Prime Tszyu before October 2023, this is how Tszyu fought. The biggest difference in Tim Tszyu is there's a little bit of hesitation in his game. He hangs out on the outside a little bit too long. He's not throwing his jab anymore. Tim Tszyu's success will start and stop with his jab. I'm not in his camp, but if I do have Fenech's number. If I could call Fenech, I would say jab, 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 jab. We'll see. The way he used to operate, there was no doubt in his offense. There was no doubt. It was super determined. Think about the Terrell Gausha fight when he went to America and Gachet dropped him early. He stuck to the game plan and beat an Olympian, a really tough Terrell Gachet. Think about Tony Harrison, same sort of thing. Former world champion, wasn't exactly in his prime, but it wasn't exactly the end of the road. He was still a big name. And that's what with Tim, it's jab, 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 stay on the front foot. I would start the fight off aggressive. I would try to bully Errol. I would try to lean on him early. I would try to make him feel the pressure early. I would want him on his back foot. I wouldn't respect anything he's throwing at me. The fight's 13 pounds heavier than he's ever fought at. With all of the variables of his age and the degradation and the time away, he's not gonna be stronger. He's not gonna be faster. He's not gonna be quicker. His reflexes won't be as good. His conditioning won't be as good. These things happen generally over time to a samurai. Errol Spence Jr. was far from a samurai in terms of living a disciplined lifestyle. We know that. So I would use all of those things against him if I was Fennec. I would be a bully right off the bat, and I would tell Tim, go get him. Go Australia. Fennec needs to compliment Tim's style, not change it. Look what happened with Jarvis, who was a massive feather. Yeah, and Jarvis was a little dude. This is a great point Jay Side brings up. Jarvis was a 126 guy, and Fennec had him fighting up like 3 weight classes. It was crazy. People forget the fight that kind of propelled Liam Paro on his run was the knockout against Brock. Brock was the one signed to Matchroom. Brock was the A side. Brock was the kid who was trained by Jeff Fennick. And Paro was just, at the time, a domestic Aussie from Brisbane who was supposed to be a decent test for Brock. And look how fortunes can change. Once again, best sport on earth. Tim Tszyu, full unit. Yeah, I got Tszyu on the money line. I got him at plus 135. He's my dog of the week. You know my rules. All the JSB insiders will know this about my betting strategy. I rarely will ever throw my dog of the week on other parlays. Why? Because my strategy is why get greedy. We're taking a dog at plus money. It's already, the risk versus reward's already there. So why get greedy? There are some props this week I'll get into. I posted in the Discord. I haven't made it public. A plus 500 knockout prop on the UK card I'm excited about. I'll give you Pat the victory for that one. But I might play a Tszyu stoppage. I don't know yet. Of course, we called Iwata. And look, the one thing that our group will always do, when we get it right, we talk about it because we have receipts. When we get it wrong, I talk about it as well. It's frustrating when you're watching other content creators or people tweeting about either what you're doing or what they're doing. And I think the followers and the subscribers and the members in the community over time are wise enough to know when narratives are being spun, when people aren't being honest about results or outcomes. There weren't a lot of people taking Iwata. Go watch our live stream yesterday. People were selling me on Badillo. And that's when I said in the live stream, I was like, look, if I said it today too. Once your money's on somebody, you don't have to prove your money to them. Just wait till fight night. And I didn't see the Badillo. He got his ass beat. He got outboxed. He got beaten up. His body got broken down. It was systematic. Tim wants him against the ropes to do a Harrison. That's what he wants to do. That should be the game plan. And this is something that needs to be mentioned as well. Let's talk about Errol because it's not like I'm anti-Errol. I'm not. But what he's gonna, so what Errol Spence bettors, I'm not saying fans, the boys who are betting on Errol, what they're hoping for with all the time off, somehow he's going to arrive on fight night, the bell rings, and have his timing on point. For him not to take a tune-up fight, I feel, is one of the most moronic things that a fighter could do. It's bad for business. It's bad for your health. It's bad for your longevity. Timing is why you take tune-up fights. You take tune-up. It's not spar. Oh, he's been sparring. No, I mean, have you been sparring? You've been sparring Mendoza, dude? A guy that Tim handled easily? Like, you've already, like, Have you really? I follow Errol on social. Everything he posts since Terence Crawford, he's in the Dominican, he's in Cabo San Lucas. It looked to me he was on holiday for 3 years. I don't know. I don't live with him. Maybe he was shying away, hiding the fact, but I don't care. None of that could reproduce the lights, the energy of the crowd, what it feels like to walk through the corridor when the announcer calls your name, the nerves, the adrenaline, and then once you get in between the ropes, nothing can mimic. I don't care how much you're in shape, how much you've been training, nothing can mimic when there's another guy at a high level who's trying to take your head off and you're trying to get his timing. You're trying to get that, orthodox for a southpaw matchup. You're trying to get the distance down. You're trying to get where am I safe? Where am I not safe? And it's in those moments where I think he's going to crumble because even Tim didn't stop Dennis Nuria. Tim didn't stop Velasquez. Anthony. Okay. But he fought 20 rounds. Since December of 2025 up until now, he's fought 20 rounds. He went the distance with two undefeated guys. Were they world champions? No. But these guys were, B minus at the highest, more than club level. I don't care what level you're on. It is always harder to stop an undefeated opponent in pro boxing. That being said, Tszyu has, in 6 months, 20 rounds of that timing. That timing means a lot. That timing you can't recreate. You only get that timing from actually boxing. And mate, yeah, we'll see. I've been watching Liam on interviews. I told you about this, Julius, and once again, the same backlash I got 3 years ago for talking about Errol Spence's brain damage. I got my video taken down when I did one on Liam Wilson. I did one on Liam Wilson 6 months ago on his brain damage. No one wants to talk about it. All he does is spar. With his style, he has no head movement. He gets hit way too much. He's been boxing with that style for over a decade. He's been cutting so much weight. He's a massive 130. And it's crazy to me that you could have Liam in the broadcaster booth and nobody even you don't obviously you want to have empathy. It's a touchy subject. It is. It's hard to, especially when you have a fighter who's only 30 or so young, who's still active, and you're seeing it. But it's kind of like, as a sport and community, man, it's like, what is Liam gonna be like at 60? He's definitely slurring, man. I think it was Liam Paro's last fight. He was in the booth. You couldn't even, it was hard, man. Like it was hard to watch because that doesn't get better. You don't reverse that. At least now you don't. Maybe in time with stem cells and, regeneration medicine and stuff like that we'll be able to, and who knows, maybe. But that stuff only degrades over time. It atrophies. And it's evident with Liam, just like it's evident with Errol. Damaged odds are brutal. Power Kennel, who you got? Troy Nash. I'm not Troy Nash. I don't have that fight yet. I'm not even getting, because it's only Tuesday afternoon, my book isn't giving me anything but 6 fights. So we're still kind of riffing. All the JSB insiders, there's 85 of you in here. Shout out to 85 of you guys on a Tuesday. If you're new to the channel, this is what we do Monday and Tuesday. We break down every single fight card every week, not just the big ones. And then we rub shoulders, we watch film, and then we bet on these fights based off of what we see. So usually by Thursday, Kennel, I'll have the odds. So Troy is 7-0 now. Who's Troy fighting? Going against an 8-0 Ethan Perez. I'll look into it. The fight wasn't on my radar, but I'll look into it. Skeezy, where you been, boy? Perked in the house. Holla at your boy. Carlos Sanchez, hi Johnny. Is Josh Kelly a good pick? I think he's great on the money line. Right now, Josh is 28% return. Josh right now is a great parlay piece. I think a lot of the boys are catching on. So a lot of the guys in our Discord are catching on to this parlay piece. So if you want to parlay Josh Kelly, I would jump on that now. I'll pull up the bet. I'll pull up the odds. Kelly is fighting an 18-0 Carmen Agarco. It's Kelly's first title defense after winning the 154-pound belt from Bakram Murtazaev. Agarco's a guy who's undefeated, but he's gone life and death with some guys that Kelly's handled easily. Troy Williamson. I'll put Ishmael Davis. I actually think Kelly, the stoppage might be live here. Yeah, so right now, guys, 28% on the money line is a great parlay piece. So you got to think, as we inch closer to fight night, those odds might, and look, they're already crashing, guys. Look here on the screen. You see where the circle is? So 2 weeks ago, Kelly was 38% return. This chart here on the far right corner is showing you how those odds are trending down. So he's gone from a 38% return to now 28% return. So jump on him now. I think it's a great parlay piece. I'm thinking Fulton stops Wilson late. That's a fight I'm torn on. I'm going to break that down. I keep going back and forth, basically because of how big Liam is for the division. Like, even though he's showing signs of degradation and he's slurring his speech, you could still box. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's guys who could barely talk. You go to any boxing gym throughout the world, you're going to see old timers who are still hitting the bag, who are like 70, who their body functionally will still work. It's just the verbal and the auditory is all fucked from the brain. Liam, he can still box. So he's a big 130. He cuts a lot of weight to make 130. And his cut actually looked good his last fight. We were talking about that, how he got the weight cut looks good. Fulton's a guy who's been stopped at 26 before. He's, coming off a really head-scratching defeat. I mean, Shock is a beast. We took Shock to win. Wasn't head-scratching. The effort, to me, it looked like Fulton was never in that fight. Now, the good news for Fulton is the fact that Liam Wilson kind of has similarities in terms of his hook-heavy front foot style to a guy that Fulton has beaten recently in Brandon Figueroa. So I'm still kind of torn on where I'm going with that fight. Do you like Hamza 1 through 6? Yeah, Hamza 1 through 6 is a sexy bet right now in the Discord. I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Right now it's almost at plus 100, right? It's almost. I got to do more tape on his opponent, an undefeated kid. I've seen him fight before. Who do you got on Fulton fight? We'll get there in a second. Youngin 1 through 6 for sure. Yo, I got Jaleel Hackett against Sergey. Who you got? I like Jaleel too. I got out of nowhere this morning. I got a lot of questions about Jaleel Hackett versus Sergey Devianchenko. I don't know if it's because I brought it up like a month ago. It was a fight that was on my radar. It excites me a little bit. Devianchenko will be 41 years old in October. He's a 5'8" guy. Always been sort of, what he makes up for in the lack of physical attributes, he makes up for his engine, his motor, his will, his durability. He's 16-6, never been stopped. It is really difficult for me to bet on a 41-year-old fighter whose best moments were losses. When you talk about Devianchenko, you talk about him in his prime, 2019 when he fought Triple G and it went the distance, 2020 going the distance. Like, I'm not going to bet on a 41-year-old whose best moments were in losses. What I will do, though, is bet on a 5'11", big 23-year-old who's hungry. I look at Jaleel Hackett, and we're seeing a lot of parallels and similarities week in and week out as we go on this journey together. This will be a year of us doing this, of seeing these younger guys come along and us seeing early reads. We just saw it with Diego Pacheco and Emmanuel Lim. One of the reasons that I really liked Pacheco to get the stoppage was how young he was and how successful he's been, and how I feel Diego hadn't matured yet into his physical prime. Same thing with Abdullah Mason, 22. Every time we see Abdullah, every fight for the next few years, you're going to see him leveling up. Jaleel Hackett, very similar, 23 years old. Every time we see Jaleel, I expect to see certain levels. I think this spot is perfect for him to get a good name, a real gritty, tough pro that'll teach him some things. And Devianchenko on his resume, the odds are great. I haven't made my exact decision yet how I'm going to use Hackett, but I do like Hackett to beat Derevinchenko. Ryo, full you're locked in. Let's do it. Mickey Lloyd, I got Timmy 5-1. Like rounds 1 through 5. Solis is good. Solis has been there with some good guys. We have so many fights to talk about. Richardson Hitchens versus Ricardo Salas. Will he get the knockout? He's not necessarily on paper a knockout artist. We have seen him at times. He's really sharp. What you're going to get with Hitchens is a guy who's really sharp, really accurate, great fight IQ in there. For me, it's his jab, it's his hand speed. I got to do a little bit more tape on Salas. Remember, Ricardo is a guy who's never. I'm pretty sure he's undefeated. It's always tougher for undefeated to stop undefeated guys. It's that week. Hitchens versus Salas. What's your prediction? Does Hitchens have a shot to get the knockout? Everyone's asking about this. Let's go. Tim's head is gonna bleed. Probably. Tim's a bleeder lately, isn't he? Salas upset. All right, that's the third question on Salas. So let's see what the odds look like. I don't think so, man. I know it's not a popular pick for what I'm about to say, but there's something that happens in boxing fandom to where, and I think it's a part of human psychology to where I don't know if it's because of social media or because there is so much content of every fighter, you really see whatever image they're trying to portray online on their social medias. And then depending on if you like it or not, people will then use that to kind of gloss over who they are in the ring. Richardson Hitchens is in my close top 15 fighters in the world, man. Richardson Hitchens is freaking world class. He's been world class. He just needed his moment against George to get that knockout. I'm a big fan. How big he is. Like I said, his hand speed, his jab, his fight IQ. He's a really, 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 really high level boxer. There's a lot of really great fights for him in the future. I think this is a tough fight. I don't see Salas beating him. Jab won't stop Timmy. I got 500 on Tim by knockout. Let's go. Let's go. Not like, bro, this isn't a crazy bet. Because I don't know if Errol has 12 in him. Guys, if you want Tszyu by dog, you better take him now. Because, and this isn't me, and the boys in the group know this, I broke this fight down. It's uploaded on the YouTube channel. I shared my underdog of the week. I have Tim Tszyu at $1.35 plus 135. He's down to plus 110. Look at the odds going crazy. Who knows how that's going to fluctuate? The knockout, plus 250. I love it. I love Tszyu by knockout at plus 250. I don't see this fight going the distance. Will the fight go the distance? No. Even if you want to, play it a little bit safe and hedge both sides. I mean, Errol Spence Jr. isn't knocking anybody out, dude. The dude, is not, he's not this puncher. Like, Kell Brook was 10 years ago. But if you want to play it safe, I don't think the fight's going 12. 52% return. Will the fight get stopped before the final bell? Yes. 52% return. I like Tszyu at plus 250 by knockout. I think that's a great prop. I think that's a hell of a prop. Guys, there's 85 of you in here. Like the video, subscribe. There should be 85 likes, you savages. Nice. Floyd, do you think EJ would have beaten Tim if they had fought in 2021? Both were undefeated. 2021, Errol Spence, he's fighting at 147. Tim's always fought at 54. The thing that people are forgetting is Tim has been calling Errol out for years. It was the people were calling him crazy. They used to sell t-shirts. This was when did Tim fight Tony? I was at that fight. And they were selling t-shirts, and I put the photo up. So Tim fought Tony. It was only 2023. So this is crazy. So Tim fought Tony in 2023. they were selling T-shirts that said Tszyu's hit list, and Errol Spence. It was Bud Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. So it's not like this fight for Tszyu came out of nowhere. Tszyu has been planning to fight Errol for a long, long time. For a long time. And I think 2021 would have been a much more difficult fight for him. Errol was still a little bit more energetic. I don't know, man. I think it's this weird narrative. People were just saying that Tszyu was never any good. That's a crazy thing to say. Tim Tszyu is a former world champion. He's beaten Olympians. He's knocked out world champions before. This kid, the revisionist history is crazy. So I'm not one of these guys to say, and I was never one of these guys to say Tim was going to be the next Costa. But I have seen him fight since he turned pro in 2016. He does some really, the dude is world level. Tough as nails, has a great chin. For me, it's tactics and his handlers. When we could talk about what was done wrong, how do you go from the Seb Fondora cut split decision loss straight into Murtazaev? And then you go straight into, you just don't do that. That's bad business. But for all of that to happen, and then all of a sudden people unanimously say that he sucked, you guys maybe you should revisit on, what that even means to you, because the dude has skills, and there were a lot of people down here who believed him when he was saying he wanted Tszyu, or he wanted Errol, and he wanted Crawford. It wasn't that long ago. Now, I think the time is obviously perfect. You're taking and what are they going to say when he knocks Errol out? They're going to say you took an old man. They're going to say you took an old, damaged guy who could barely speak off the couch and you knocked him out. So that's what they're going to say. And then we'll see. What's the number of fight you like this weekend? It's a lot of them, but just one. Tim Tszyu, Errol Spence, hands 100% down. Dude, I've watched Errol Spence in the amateurs, the Olympic trials in 2012. Like, I watched him in 2012. I moved to Australia in 2013. For me to finally have an opportunity to see Errol fight live, it's going to be awesome. And there's storylines here. It's obviously not for a belt, but with so much at stake, so many unanswered questions, it's everything that's good with boxing. Do I want to see Errol fight again? No. But when I say it's everything that's good with boxing, storylines, romanticism, a comeback story, like what could happen. If you don't believe in magic, watch boxing. You know what I'm saying? It's the opportunity for any given night, one man with two fists to change his life. It doesn't get more beautiful than that. So both guys have an opportunity to restructure and rewrite their legacy. One of them, like, even if Errol looks great, I wouldn't want to see him fight again. I'll pass you my college football picks by next week. Hey, college football is my wheelhouse. Let's go. Whoever L goes home forever. Yeah, I think it's fair to say. But, like, I think if Tim loses at 31, it wouldn't be for Tim, for me, it'd be how he loses. If he gets blown out against a guy like Errol, yeah, don't fight again. If it's a nip and tuck, I don't see Tim losing a close fight, though. I only see Tim losing if he gets blown out. It just is totally done. And obviously you then retire. For Errol, though, even if he wins, I think he should retire. What's he going to do? Fight at 160? What's he want to do? Fight? What's Errol want to do? Boo-Boo. Dudu Andrade's fighting this weekend in Connecticut. Boo-Boo. You know who else is on that Boo-Boo card? Is Kevin, the kid who went to the UK and he was like a 6-1 dog, and he destroyed everyone's parlays. He beat Mick Conlon in a fight that I thought he lost, but he's on that card too. Robert Garcia, I doubt would train Zubies. Yeah, but that sort of ethos, though, Kirsten. That sort of ethos. A Mexican-style trainer, body punching, heavily focused, cut the ring in half, work on his defense inside. Abel Sanchez would have been good. Minimum 20 mil. Errol for the money. Then go. Thurman versus Spence. That could happen. Thurman's just coming off getting the brakes beaten off of him too, though. Nathan, Johnny, what's up, man? I saw your dog for UFC. You don't think the takedowns would be an issue to 3-rounder? Nah, man. I think my boy Mike has always been one of the dark horses in MMA, man. I don't think Mike has ever gotten his full flowers. I don't think people truly understand how good Mike Davis is. And, it has to be now. It's a dog play that I'm going to live with. I'm going to live and die with it. I like him as the B side. If you know anything about Mike Davis, he is one of these guys that sometimes what I've been told from the difference from in the training room, he washes everybody in the training room. And then sometimes when the lights are bright, there's expectations put on him. Sometimes he doesn't have the results he wants. I like the fact that he's traveling overseas. I like the fact that he's a B side. Mike Davis is a goddamn beast. Mike Davis at his best could beat anybody. This is the craziest shit. He's far from a household name. He's a UFC fighter. I've been watching. How old is he now? It might be a little bit. He might be a little bit long in the tooth now. I might be a bit more romantic about this bet, but I'm on a heater. And if there's any time for you to take a little risks as a bettor, it'd be for a heater. And I'm on a heater right now. He's only 33, dude. Dude, don't get it twisted. Watch the tape. Mike Davis is a goddamn animal. 33. I remember watching Mike when he was 25. Coming off a win. He's coming off that win against Mitch Ramirez, who gets beat by everyone. Faraz Siam, he lost that. Beat Natan Levy. Beat Santa Claus. Beat Mason Jones. The Mason Jones fight was already 5 years ago. Yeah, with Mike, it's like injuries and inactivity. So I think that's great value, though, as the dog. I jumped on that early. When I saw Mike was the underdog, I was like, shit, you guys must not know about Beast Boy. So, yeah, I'm happy with this fight. 11-0, Tajikistan. I ain't scared. I think, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'll be trying to catch lives, man. I try to stay in contact. My Insta. Stay in contact. I'm easy to get a hold of. Where are you betting on Errol versus Tim? My betting app, playa. My betting app, big dog. The one on the screen, homie. This one. This betting app. I already put my app in. Do you think he can knock out Errol like Crawford, but Tim is not Crawford? No, I mean, look, you can't. This isn't the fight. I'll address the comment, but you can't do that. It's not about can Tim knock out Errol like Bud did because Tim's not Bud. Well, the only way you would ever be able to use that as an argument is if you had two separate timelines of reality and you take it back to July 23rd, 2023, and you put all the circumstances happening at the same time. But that's not what we're going to do. Bud and Errol, Bud was a world champion at 135 pounds. He was chasing Errol forever. Was a champion at 40. He goes up to 47. So Bud and Errol fought at 147 pounds. Errol, in my opinion, going into that fight, shouldn't have fought. I was already saying Errol shouldn't fight. Signs. Movement patterns, slow, degradation. Tim's a 154 pounder. The question is, if Tim fought Bud, what would that look like at 154? It wouldn't be, because we're about to see Tim fight Errol, but the reason why it's not a fair question is because Errol hasn't fought in 3 years and he got the dog piss beaten out of him. It wasn't just a fluke loss. He got broken down physically, dropped multiple times, stopped, bloodied, battered, broken, hasn't fought since. Why is he really fighting? I think Tim probably does it quicker. It took Bud 9 rounds. I bet you Tim gets him out of there before 6. Feel like Tim and Errol could get bloody. I think it's going to. I think watching Tszyu, the thing he's gonna be way sharper. He's gonna be way quicker, and he's gonna have more power. I think he's gonna have more power. A guy who's cut his teeth, who boiled down his whole career, even if they weren't 3 years out of the game, to fight at 147. So let's say Errol didn't take 3 years off and didn't get his ass beat and didn't get into a car crash and wasn't an alcoholic and took care of himself like a samurai, and he fought his whole career at 147 like he did, and he boiled himself down to 147 like he did, and his next fight he fights at 160. 13 pounds heavier. That's you can't expect that kid who fought at 47 to be the same fighter at 160, 13 pounds heavier. Now, that's where they're fighting at, 160. And you guys better add in all that other shit I just said, because those are the facts about Errol. You guys just think he's going to miraculously look like 23-year-old Errol Spence Jr. against Chris Van Heerden? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell, dude? Let's get romantic about this. I agree with you, Spence being out, moving away. You just can't expect him to carry 13 pounds with all the inactivity. I don't know why he's taking this fight. I think this is perfect for Tim, dude. This is exactly what you want for Team Tszyu. This is why they asked for the fight. This is why they put their hand up. Tim was calling Errol out before 2023 to get for Tszyu mentally. I totally expect to see old Tszyu. Why? Because psychologically, he wanted this fight before all that trauma happened, before the Seb Fandora cut, before the Murtazaev knockout. He was already asking for this fight. Check the receipts. You can find it on social media. You can find the t-shirts. He has this fight. And what better time than now in 2026 to get the fight if you're Tszyu? Zach and Huber, easy stoppage. You got to watch Simon. I don't want to ever... Look, I can't ever... Simon Zach and Huber is an undefeated guy. You got to do your due diligence. If you're going to just bet on Shiraz to get an early stoppage, I'd only feel comfortable with you doing that is if you could tell me, hey, you watch Zach and Huber and you saw on the tape, he drops his right hand, he can't fight off the back foot, his power is suspicious, and Shiraz is going to overwhelm him. But if you're just saying that because you don't know who Simon Zach and Huber is, it's not a wise way to bet. If Spence comes one hit slow, good night. Yeah. We can't find the Spence fight on Sportsbook here in Ohio. What's up, Zeke? OH, baby. This is what I keep hearing. A lot of you guys aren't getting the fight yet. It is only Monday, though, in Ohio. The fight is in 6 days. So I assume in about 48 hours, Zeke, that you'll get the fight. Come on, it's Errol Spence Jr. Mick. Zeke with the gems. Go trophy. No one's ever given me gems before. How cool is that, Zeke? I appreciate you, man. OHIO. Let's go. Charlo was disappointed. Yeah, it does suck he's not fighting. I agree. The more I look at Agarco, I'm leaning Kelly knockout. Agarco hasn't got a knockdown in 5. Never. Yeah, and when you look at how Agarco operated as of late, he's winning close majority decisions. He won a close split decision. I rewatched 2 of his last fights. He's small, 5'8". He looks good. He cuts weight good. He looks good on the scale. So when you look at him in a silhouette of Carmen Agarco, he looks like a superhero. But he's one of those guys that isn't that big. Josh, what do we always say, Julius? Whenever you become a world champion, I think this is Teddy Atlas. He says you elevate by 30%. Auntie Ruiz, last weekend, in the debate we were doing, some of the boys were picking Jenny Fuchs to beat Auntie Ruiz. We took Auntie Ruiz. One of many reasons why I liked Auntie Ruiz was the fact that from their first fight in 2024, a fight in which I thought she won, she had become a world champion. So now you have this fighter who has a belt around their waist now, who's going to fight, like Teddy says, 30% at a higher level. I expect Josh to show out. This is a showcase fight, in my opinion. It's another guy with a great record to put on his resume. And I think he's going to go out there similar to Flavio Bea. Go back when Josh was rebuilding himself after the David Evanesian loss. He fought a guy who might have been 28-0, 29-0, something like that, named Flavio Bea, and we smashed him at plus 210 by knockout, and he knocked Bea out in the first round. Josh is a momentum guy. He's a rhythm fighter, reflex guy. He's going to want to put on a show. Why? Eddie's been in his ear. People want unified world title fights. I know the Americans want to see Seb Fandora and Jaron Ennis. I don't. Stylistically, from a boxing purist perspective, I've been saying for at least 4 years that I want to see Jaron Ennis versus Josh Kelly. 4 years ago, neither one was a world champion. They fought in different divisions. Guess what? Both are world champions in the same division. I'm banking on Kelly to go out there and start Jagarko, call out Boots, and fight Boots in a stadium in the UK. And then Boots has an opportunity to become a global star. That's the move. The move isn't for me. Like if I'm Boots' handlers, why would the move wouldn't be to keep Boots in America for the fight against Seb. It would be, this is in terms of you're creating a global star. You take Boots international. You sell out a football stadium against their world champion, and if he knocks Kelly out there, then then you come back and you're like that's the move. I think that's been in the plan behind the scenes since Josh won, and then we saw what Boots just looked like against Xander. I think it only makes sense. I think Boots fights Josh first, and then that winner fights Seb for all the belts. Come on, dude. How is this not the best sport in the world? 5 years. Went through heartbreak. Good to be back. Skeezy, man. It's good to see you, brother. Perth in the house. Holla at your boy. Fight fan, my guy. What's up, man? We're up, aren't we? We are up. What's the word? Otto Wallen. Not on my radar yet. We'll get there. It's only Tuesday. We're just kind of grooving right now. We'll pull it up. We're an hour in. There's 96 in here. Like the video. I bet if I don't have 96 likes, if I don't have 96 likes, I'm going to be disappointed in the squad. All my parlays have Shiraz 1 through 6. The Simon guy's terrible body language when he get. Okay. So Winston Sanders, shout out to the input. We have a couple VIPs in the chat who are in the Discord who've been following this lead. They've followed this exact play. So it's not like it's coming out of nowhere. I was only speaking on my own due diligence for how I bet. I haven't watched enough tape on Zach and Huber, but I see that this sentiment keeps being brought up. So I guess that's the move, boys. Shiraz 1 through 6. What is it? What are you guys getting? Like 92% return right now? Hamza, round betting market, alternative round betting. Okay, yeah. I like it, bro. And shout out to Youngin and Moonshot and the boys. 1 through 6. Plus 90% return. Great to go heavy on. Whatever your bankroll is. Great to go heavy on. Obviously, an insane parlay piece when you're getting 90% return back. Just depends on your bankroll. However big your bankroll is will depend on how you use that strategically. So, whole nother chat. The strategy of betting is everything, right? So there's no right or wrong way to bet. It all depends on your bankroll. So a 90% return for a guy with a nice bankroll, that would be it. You don't have to put that on anything. Why risk any other legs when you could go heavy on getting 90% return? 1,000 gets you 900 back. Easy maths. 5,000 gets you 2,400 back. No, way more than that. 5,000 would get you 4,200. My math's off. You get my point. 90% return. Derevyanchenko hasn't made middleweight in 4 years. Turns 41 in October. The guy that Shiraz is fighting is complete ass cheeks. His last name starts with a Z, and he lost me money last time I bet on him. Isn't he undefeated? Zach and Huber. Why did I think Zach and Huber was undefeated? No, he has 1 loss. He lost to Pawal August. Oh, God. August is fighting, too. All right, I like it. 1 through 6 is the move, boys. I like it. Everyone looks bad against Crawford. Spence gonna show he's still there. How though? How do you think he's gonna do that, Dan? Like so, Madrimov didn't look bad against Crawford. Madrimov fought him pretty competitively. Madrimov, argument that he fought Crawford the toughest. What do you think 3 years at 36 he's just going to magically get better? Cuz I like that wasn't just Bud. That was also how bad Errol was. It wasn't just how good Bud is. It's also how awful Errol looked. Sluggish, slow, telegraphing everything over his lead foot, bad decision making, like not using the ring. He would get hurt and come in. Like, he took so many clean headshots, dude. That was, come on, dude. That was hard to watch. He got the dog piss beaten out of him. That fight could have been stopped 2 rounds earlier. Whoever are his handlers, why ever he is still fighting, you got to have a long chat. You got to have a long chat. Hopefully it's not, and I hope to God it's not because he needs money. You never know, man. You got a little girl you got a girl, you got an expensive lifestyle. I don't know anyone. I just hope it's not that. I hope that it's not he's fighting because he needs money. Why fight? Ego? Ego sends you to an early grave. Why not take a warm-up fight? I don't do that more than anything has left a horrible taste in my mouth. Hearing Spence say that. All right, mate. All right. Don't take a warm-up fight. Yeah, Hitchens. I don't think Hitchens is losing. I love Errol, but he's definitely don't got 13 in him. Still, the odds will come, gents. Sup, Johnny? I had Troy Williamson money line to beat Simon Zach and Ebert before the fight was canceled. Zach and Ebert went on to lose to Paulo August. He falls apart when it's put on him, and that's what we're seeing. I think obviously we don't have a lot of evidence, but since Hamza fought Adames at 60 and went to 68, the performance against Berlanga, he had another fight, I think, since then. He just pushes the gas, Shiraz, and I hate comparing fighters from different eras. When I watch Hamza, there's a little bit of him that reminds me of my boy Kelly. And it's not just about the stature, tall and lanky. It's how he throws his backhand and like how he comes in off of the jab and what he looks like. He wants to be inside. There's a little bit of Kelly Pavlik and Hamza Shiraz. Tim Tszyu trash. Yeah, Tszyu. That shit's hilarious. Let's go hit that like button, my dudes. Where the boys at? Let's go. Errol's going to beat the brakes off soon. What's Errol going to do? Hey, man, what a story. If that happens, I'm just going to say that's amazing. If Errol does that, it's amazing. The opportunity he has is to rewrite his script. It'd be amazing. Not 0-54. He'll be one. So he's the one. 0-54. So Errol is that dude. At 36 years old, he'll be that first guy out of 55 attempts. He'll be the first guy. I don't think so. Not at 36 years old. Not at 36 years old. Not at 160 pounds. Not after getting the brakes beaten off of him. Not after not fought in 1,100 days. He's not going to be the first. I know you guys like to get romantic about it. He's not going to be the first. Low key, one of the best fights is Wall and Sorenko. I got to look into it then. Errol said if Tim get to whipping my ass, I'll just say, bro, this is cash out fight. He's definitely cashing out. Definitely a cash out fight. If Errol wins, he could fight No, we do not want to see that. No, this is what I'm talking about. Guys, we do not want to see Errol versus Virgil. No, I don't want to see that. Errol already has damage, dude. He already has substantial neurological damage. The style, Tim fights similar to Virgil. We're about to see it. You're about to see it on Sunday. Where the hell's Virgil been, man? Isn't that crazy? Where the hell's Virgil been? There's no place for Spence at 60. Even Lara is dangerous. It is. Sergey looked absolutely horrible. He did. Julius, add this to your stats book. I'm never going to bet on a 41-year-old whose best moments were in losses. How am I going to bet on a 41-year-old whose best career accolades have come in losses? If Ed can't beat Bang Butler, Ed needs to hang him up, and I know he's still young. Bang Butler is tailor-made for Berlanga. That's all I'm going to say. I've won a lot of money in the last 12 to 18 months on betting on Stephen Butler to win by knockout. Those were in domestic level gifts in Montreal under the Eye of the Tiger promotions. Edgar Berlanga, say what you will about him, he still has good hand speed. He has power. He has good skills. Came through the amateurs. If Eddie cannot beat Butler, he has no business. He's done. Thoughts on this parlay AJ fight? Not to go the distance. Shiraz knockout. Bank money line. Satsumi money line. I like it. What do we do? We're double. Yeah, so plus 106. $2.06. So plus 106. Stephen Butler hasn't gone the distance. No, this is it. The fight not to go the distance is the move, but it pays nothing. This is Tony Harrison 2.0 for Tim. I think so, too. I think Errol wins the decision. That's crazy. I just can't see Errol going 36 minutes at this stage of his career. I also can't see him getting a fair shake on the judges' scorecards. You know what I'm saying? Like, Errol would have to drop Tim 2 times to win a decision on a no-limit card in Sydney on a Tim Tszyu card against Tszyu. Errol will have to have multiple knockdowns. It can't be close. He'll have to win 9 rounds. That's the only way he gets a decision. In Sydney. That's not happening. Yeah, Errol's mint work looks terrible. This is the craziest shit. Shout out to QT. This is why when I share these videos on YouTube and Instagram, I don't give my opinion because people get way too emotional. I shared it today and I go, look, boy, look, Errol Spence he was hitting pads at my boxing coach's gym in Sydney. Shout out to Action Jackson, Luke Jackson. He looked terrible. Everything. There's just an energy that's missing. It seems like he's been space jammed when I look at Errol. There's no glow. Like, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say what I want to say. It almost seems like a humiliation ritual. It almost seems like he owes people money. I don't know what's going on, dude. It does not make sense him flying 15 hours on a flight to come to Sydney to fight Tim Tszyu at 160 pounds. Tim Tszyu got ruled that time early. This is more than anything right here. This is what it's going to... Even if both were 100%, this would still... Like, obviously, only time will tell. Yeah, most fans... Yeah, they think Errol is a superhero. Do you think EJ is more skilled? More skilled than Tim? Of course Bud picked EJ to win. They fought. This is what boxers do. Do you think Bud wants? Do you think Bud wants somebody on his resume that Tszyu beat? You know what I'm saying? Like Bud wants Errol to stop Tim, so Bud could even then be projected up. This is what they do. It's called posturing. And I'm not going to say the evident, and I'm not going to say the evident bit out loud. But boxing fans, if you know anything about, if you've been in the game my whole life, your whole life, you'll know. You can read between the lines with that one too. It still baffles me that Crawford was shot. It was a graze. It wasn't like here. It was like a ricochet. It is either way. He did get shot in the head. No, fuck no, no. That's gonna be the game. Exactly. Don't back up. Neither guy is. Neither guy is doing their best work off the back foot. If Errol, you need to go after Bentley. Guys, no. No, dude. Carlos Adames beats the dog piss out of Errol Spence. Even Denzel Bentley's hook. Denzel Bentley would beat Errol at this stage of the game. Shout out to Denzel Bentley getting elevated to full world title. You guys tried to tell me Andrew Savidra is going to beat Denzel Bentley. Y'all guys, we keep all receipts out here. We not only told you Denzel was going to beat Andrew Savidra, we told you he was going to stop him. Check our receipts. How dare you bring up y'all dudes be crazy, man. I saw y'all cats on Twitter too yesterday jumping all over Badillo. You guys had my group, my Discord second guessing themselves. You guys had people thinking Badillo was going to come into Japan as the B-side in a world title fight and upset the world champion, Owada. Y'all cats be doing this. It's same people who said Savidra was going to be Bentley. Same people. Y'all cats is wild. The only way Errol wins is if he fights like Mikey Garcia was 126 pounds going up to 147. And Errol couldn't stop him. When is the last time Errol looked good, guys? I'm talking dominant. Dominant is what Terrence looked like against Errol, okay? That is our measurement, our unit of measurement. So when I say dominant, I mean a performance like Bud put on against Errol. That's what domination is. When is the last time Errol Spence looked dominant? He didn't dominate Ugas. Sure as hell didn't dominate Porter. Split decision. Danny Garcia, what? Was that a majority decision, unanimous decision? Or Mikey was a unanimous decision? Even Kell Brook, he was taking shots. What did he take? Kell into the, was that a 9th round? Errol, it's not like Errol is like a front runner guy who just dominates people off jump. Even when he was 26 years old, he's trying to bully you. He's breaking your body down. He's breaking your psyche. That guy does not exist. That guy is long gone. You guys better be prepared to see a real slow Errol Spence. It's not. I don't think it's gonna be fun to watch. Yeah, Adames would beat the dog piss out of Spence. What are people talking about? Probably going to be a TKO since he stays in that high guard. Y'all really think? Yes, 100%. Hands down, he is, dude. 100% right now. Errol, you don't? How don't you? Look, tomorrow on the live stream, I didn't want to have to do this. Just watch. What are you talking about? What makes you think he's not? You like Tyson Fury by knockout? I haven't thought about it. Spence isn't a pushover, but he's just not the same. I don't expect anything to be different. He's going to be, coming forward, determined style, jab heavy, no feet, flat-footed. He's just going to be a little less. He's going to be a little bit slower. He's going to be a little bit more methodical. He's going to have less power. Yeah, I think Jacob Banks stops August, by the way. That's the fight that I had my eyes on. Was Jacob Bank knocking out August Powell. Errol has not been the same since he let go of his strength and conditioning coach, Blue. No, he hasn't been the same. He, has, he hasn't been the same since the car crash. Come on, man. He didn't look good against Ugas, dude. That was 2022. He did not look good. He couldn't stop a small Mikey Garcia. I know Mikey was 39 and 0, but Mikey was a little dude. You know, he would bring little guys. Why are we not remembering what Errol would do? He would bring small dudes up. Mikey cut his teeth at 26. Danny Garcia, 140-pounder. Errol was a massive 147-pounder. Wasn't stopping those guys. So it's like, good career. Even Ugas. Do you rate Ugas? Is Ugas really that dude? Mario Barrios dog-walked Ugas. So Errol struggled with him. Ugas had his moments against Spence. Didn't Ugas wobble Spence? Like, I don't know, guys. It's getting crazy out here. Y'all cast is crazy. In an interview, Spence said he chose Tszyu because he was tuna. His coach said when he was steamrolling people, since he let him go, he hasn't been the same. A guy, yeah, it's been a while. I don't want to spread rumors. Spence's power won't be there. We haven't seen Spence's power in almost a decade. This is the craziest. (2018) He stops Ugas in 2022. We spoke about. Took him 10 rounds. Knocks Carlos Ocampo out. That was so 2018. We're referring to that run he went on, like 2015. Yeah, from the Chris Van Heerden fight, 2015 to about 2018. That was his prime. 2015 to 2018, that was his prime. Van Heerden, Algieri, Khan, Kell Brook. It's 2026. What do you think about Sergey Devinchenko? I like Jalil. Will Joshua stop Pringa? I'll look into it. Hackett is stopped. The old guy. Sergey left something in the ring. Sergey didn't look. I mean, Sergey fought Triple G in 2019, dude. Sergey's never been stopped. I think he turns 41 in October. I think Jalil beats him up. I'm one of the few people who Berlanga was doing pretty good. Look, I picked Berlanga to win that fight. Sorry. Hey Johnny, what's the read on Cole Boy? I don't like the interview you gave. 1,000 excuses and one last shot. We'll get there. I'm still torn too, brother. I'm still torn. The chat's popping. I'm trying to get to all these. Everybody. We're an hour and 15 minutes in. There's still 80 of you guys in here. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Like the video for me. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of fights to break down. Check out my prediction video of Spence versus Tszyu. It's up on the playlist. Join the Discord. Link is pinned. You think we'll get the Spence? You guys better. Yeah. You guys will get the Spence fight in the States. Errol for the stoppage. Anyone who thinks Errol wins this fight, well, they're just Errol fans. I just noticed on most of the videos on YouTube, they all pick Errol to win. Sean Porter. What? Let's read between the lines. I mean, they fought. Guys, in boxing, you guys know this, so I'm not coming off. I'm not trying to come off like you don't know this. It's just sometimes with so much data in front of us and so many fights in front of us, we sometimes could forget the things that are going on behind the scenes. In boxing, especially with world champions. Whenever a guy has a former opponent of theirs who is fighting, especially if you're retired, like Sean Porter, like Terence Crawford, they will 100% of the time say, when asked, that former opponent will win their upcoming fight. Amongst other things in boxing that we know, especially in American boxing, both domestically, on the amateur levels, on the pro levels, we know how dogmatic boxing is. And that's all I'm going to say. You guys are smart enough to read between the lines with what I'm trying to say. Between Errol Spence from DeSoto, Texas, USA, and Tim Tszyu from Sydney, Australia. When Terence Crawford is asked who fought Errol, when Sean Porter is asked who fought Errol, who is going to win? Errol Spence from DeSoto, Texas, USA, or Tim Tszyu from Sydney? Bro, he looked live on tape, but Dio had a good resume. His resume was not good. He did not look live on tape. What are you talking about? It was a domestic resume. But Dio did not look good on tape, mate. Slow, prodding, got over his front foot. Awada got upset last year by Rene Santiago. It was a close fight. Look, I know you're defending your L, but that wasn't a good play. That was a bad play. As that was a bad play. Just taking on the chin, big dog. Guys learn from the McGregor fight that inactivity is a big factor. In a nutshell, and I'm going to end on there, that in a nutshell, in one sentence, combat sports, boxing is a young man's sport. I'm sure that cut on Tim's cheek will open up again. Looks horrible. Hopefully, we see some blood. Ugas Rock Spence. Yep. Guys, be good. I'll see you tomorrow. JSB community, the JSB insiders right there. We up.